Have you ever felt like you've been speaking English for ages, maybe years, even decades, but there are still those little things, tiny mistakes that just kind of sneak in, the ones that make you sound, well, maybe not quite as sharp or as confident as you actually feel. If that sounds familiar, you are definitely in the right place, because today's deep dive is basically your shortcut to fixing exactly that stuff. We're not digging into, super complex grammar rules that need a PhD. Nope. We're really looking at those simple, everyday slip-ups, the ones that maybe fly under the radar but can, well, kind of hold back your communication. So our mission today, tackle these common mistakes head on, show you how to fix them, and instantly help you sound clearer, more professional. And for this, we've looked at some really helpful guides like Fixing Common English Mistakes, a guide to confident speech, and also 10 common English mistakes to fix now.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating here is just how much these seemingly small errors, these kind of sneaky ones, actually matter. It goes way beyond just being correct. Think about it the way we speak. It subtly shapes how people see us, right? Whether you're just chatting or giving a big presentation at work, or heck, even just writing an email. Fixing these little things, it's genuinely one of the quickest routes to sounding sharper, more fluent, more articulate. It's really about making sure your message lands exactly how you want it to. And it's amazing how small tweaks can make such a big difference to your confidence and, how people receive what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it. We're going to cover some of the usual suspects, starting with one I hear all the time, verb tense confusion, like saying, I didn't went instead of the correct, I didn't go. You hear, I didn't went to the party, but that's not quite it.
You're absolutely right. It should be, I didn't go to the party. The key thing here, the rule, is that did or didn't is already doing the work for the past tense. It's what we call an auxiliary verb, and it carries that past meaning. So the main verb that follows, which is go here, just stays in its simple base form, the infinitive.
Right.
You don't need to double up on the past tense marker. It's like you said, it's redundant. English doesn't like that much.
Okay, so don't double dip on the past tense.
Yeah.
Got it. It sounds straightforward when you explain it, but I bet loads of us, myself included, probably make similar slip-ups without thinking. Okay, building on that, keeping our verbs right, let's talk about another common one, mixing up do and does. Especially with subjects like he, she, or it, you often hear things like, he do his homework every day. What's the core thing we need to remember there?
Yeah, that's a great one to follow up with. The correct way is, he does his homework every day.
A quick tip, for those third-person singular subjects, he, she, it in the present tense, the verb usually needs that S or ES on the end. It's all about subject-verb agreement. So he does, she does, it does. It's a really fundamental pattern in present tense English.
Okay. Now here's one I hear a lot. I am agree with you. And I get why it sounds right, maybe if you're thinking from another language structure, but it's not quite standard English. Why shouldn't that am be there? What's the grammar reason?
That's a really insightful question. The reason is pretty simple, actually. Agree itself is a verb. It expresses an action or maybe a state of mind. So you don't need the verb to be like am, is, or are in front of it like you would with an adjective. Think of it like this. You don't say, I am run, right? You just say, I run, he. Agree works the same way. It's something you do, not something you are. Oh, that clicks. It's about knowing if the word is an action or a description. Makes sense. And speaking of keeping things streamlined, you mentioned English efficiency earlier. Let's talk about what I kind of call the redundancy trap. Where we try to add emphasis, but end up just repeating ourselves, making things less sharp. What are some common examples?
That's a great phrase for it, the redundancy trap. Yeah, it often stems from wanting to add emphasis, but standard English usually prefers being more direct. A real classic is saying, this phone is more better than mine. Better already means more good. It's comparative already. So adding more in front is just, well, it's redundant and incorrect. You just say, this phone is better than mine. Simple as that.
Right. Okay. Clear example. Another one I hear is, I can able to swim. Well, it sounds like it's really stressing the ability, but it's that doubling up again, isn't it?
Precisely. Can means you have the ability, and able to also means you have the ability. They mean the same thing. So sticking them together, pure redundancy. You just choose one. Either say I can swim or say I am able to swim. Pick one, not both. It's like wearing a belt and suspenders sometimes, usually unnecessary.
Good analogy.
No.
Okay, and the last one under this redundancy trap idea, the word irregardless. I feel like I hear it used so often it almost starts to sound right, but my internal grammar alarm goes off.
Listen to that alarm. It's spot on. Irregardless is generally considered non-standard. It's redundant. The word regardless already means without regard. The IR prefix usually means not, so adding it creates this weird, unnecessary double negative. It just makes it clunky. It doesn't add any meaning. It just muddies the waters. Stick with the clean, correct regardless. Like, regardless of the traffic, we need to leave now. Sounds much more polished. All these examples really show how often less is more for clear English.
That redundancy trap framework is really useful.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Moving away from doubling up, let's look at word pairs that sound alike but mean totally different things. Big source of confusion. First up, lose versus loose. L-O-S-E versus L-O-S-E. So similar sounding.
Oh yeah, classic mix-up. Lose, that's L-O-S-E, is the verb. It means you misplace something, like don't lose your phone, or it means to not win, or to no longer have something. Loose, with the double O, L-O-O-S-E, that's usually an adjective. It means something isn't tight, like my shoes feel a bit loose.
Yeah.
Getting that spelling and meaning right is super important for clarity, writing, or speaking.
Absolutely key. Okay, another pair that causes so much trouble, especially in emails or reports. Affect versus effect. The notorious AE pair. Yes. The easiest way to usually get this right is to think about their job in the sentence. Affect with an A is almost always a verb. It means to influence or to impact. For example, lack of sleep can affect your concentration. It's the action. Affect with an E is most often a noun. It means the result or the outcome. So the main effect of the storm was widespread flooding. It's the thing, the result. There are some rare exceptions, but honestly, remembering affect is verb, effect is noun, the Raven tips, some call it, that'll sort you out like 90% of the time.
Raven, remember affect, verb, effect, noun. I like that. That's a great little mnemonic.
No.
Okay, sticking with subtle differences. Bring versus take. I definitely hear these swapped around sometimes.
Right. This one boils down to perspective. It's all about the direction of movement relative to where the speaker is or the destination being discussed. You generally bring something towards a place or person. Think. Movement to here. Please bring snacks to the party. The snacks are coming towards the party location. You take something away from a place or person. Think. Movement from here. Can you take this package to the post office? The package is moving away from your current spot towards the post office. It's all about direction relative to the context.
Ah, okay. Directionality. That clarifies it nicely. Now let's tackle pronouns. Can be surprisingly tricky. Here's one that sounds totally normal in casual chat, but isn't quite the standard polished form. Me and my friend went shopping. Super common, right?
Oh, incredibly common. But the standard, more grammatically polished way is, my friend and I went shopping. It comes down to subject versus object pronouns. I is the subject pronoun, the one doing the action. I went, I see. Me is an object pronoun. It receives the action. Someone saw me. Give it to me. So when you and your friend are the ones doing the action going shopping, you're both subjects. So it's my friend and I. A really simple check. Take the other person out of the sentence. Would you say, me went shopping?
No, you'd say, I went shopping.
Exactly. So it's my friend and I went shopping. And this logic also applies to things like between you and I. That should always be between you and me, because between is a preposition, and prepositions always take the object pronoun. Between you and me.
That take the other person out. Trick is gold. Really helpful. Okay, changing tack slightly. Here's a phrase that seems logical if you think about possession as ongoing, but isn't standard. I am having a car. Why is that not quite right?
Right. It does seem logical in a way, but the verb have, when it means possession or describes a state, is what we call a state verb or stative verb. Unlike action verbs like run, eat, talk, which describe something actively happening, state verbs describe a condition, a state of being. You don't usually, actively perform the action of possessing a car. It's just a state you're in. So you simply say, I have a car, not I am having a car. Same way you'd say, I know the answer, not I am knowing the answer. It describes a condition, not an action in progress right now.
That state verb versus action verb difference is a really powerful concept. Good insight. Okay, let's move to another pair differentiating types of quantity. Less versus fewer. This trips up even native speakers all the time.
It does, but the rule itself is quite straightforward once you get it. Use fewer for things you can actually count individually. Discrete items, like fewer chairs, fewer mistakes, fewer emails. You can count them one by one. Use less for things you can't count individually, things that are seen as a mass or a quantity, like less money, less stress, less information, less sand. So you'd say, there were fewer people at the meeting, so we had less discussion. Countable people, uncountable discussion.
Fewer for countable, less for uncountable. Got it. That makes sense. What about hearing things like could've, would've, should've? They sound so much like how we speak.
They sound right purely because of contractions. In fast speech, could have, would have, should have often get smushed down, and the have sounds very much like of. But in writing and grammatically, it is always have, never of. Of is a preposition. It doesn't make sense there. The auxiliary verb needed is have. So it's always I should have gone or contracted. I should have gone, never should have.
Right. It's a listening trap that becomes a writing mistake. Okay. Another simple writing one you see everywhere, a lot. A-L-O-T. Is that actually a word?
Simple answer, nope. A lot is not a word. It's just a very, very common spelling error. It should always be two separate words. A lot. Think of simile phrases like a little, a bit, a few. Always two words. Same applies to a lot.
Okay, easy fix, space bar. Right, let's wrap up with one I swear I see misused constantly, especially online. The word literally.
How do we gently address the fact that saying I literally died laughing usually means the person is, well, still very much alive? Yes, that's a fun one because its misuse is so widespread, it's almost become standard informal usage, hasn't it? But technically, literally means actually, factually, without any exaggeration. So if you say, I literally exploded with anger unless you actually combusted, you're using it for emphasis, not literally. For that kind of emphasis, you can just say, I was incredibly angry or I nearly died laughing. Reserve literally for when something actually happened exactly as described, like the shelf literally collapsed under the weight of the books. If it actually broke and fell, that's correct. Using it correctly gives it real power because it signals this isn't hyperbole, this is fact. Using it all the time just dilutes it.
Good point. Use it sparingly for maximum impact. Okay, final one. Maybe the heavyweight champion of common mix-ups, especially in writing. There, and there.
Yeah. Yes, the homophone headache. Truly one of the biggest giveaways of, let's say, less careful writing. But it's so fixable with just a moment's thought. Okay. There, T-H-E-I-R, shows possession. It belongs to them. That is their house. There, T-H-E-R-E, usually indicates place. Look over there. Or existence. There is hope. Think here and there location. And there, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E, is simply the contraction, the short form of they are. Before you type one, just pause and ask, am I talking about belonging there? Am I talking about a place or existence there? Or do I mean they are? They're along. That conscious check makes all the difference.
Wow, okay. We have just unpacked a fantastic range of really common English mistakes and hopefully given you some really practical fixes for each one. We've covered everything from, verb tenses and pronouns to easily confused words, that whole redundancy trap idea, and even how to use literally the right way. The main goal here, like always, isn't some kind of impossible perfection. It's about sounding clear, feeling confident, and being, genuinely correct in how you communicate. So as you finish listening, maybe just take a second. Think about one or two of these mistakes that really stood out to you. Maybe it was the didn't go rule, or understanding state verbs like have, or finally nailing down there, and there. Pick one or two and really focus on applying those fixes starting today. Honestly, even mastering just one can make a huge difference in how you feel about your English and how effectively your message comes across.
Absolutely. And connecting this back to the bigger picture, really understanding why these mistakes happen is so powerful. It's not just about memorizing rules off by heart. When you know that did handles the past tense, or that agree is a verb, or that better is already comparative, or that have often shows a state, or you grasp the direction thing with bring and take, or the verb noun split for effect, well, that knowledge gives you real linguistic understanding. It's not just fixing that one sentence. It helps you apply the logic elsewhere, building deeper fluency and precision over time.
That's a great point. It builds a stronger foundation. So here's something to think about. Considering how much just one word or phrase can shift how someone perceives what you're saying, how might consciously refining our language, beyond just being correct, actually boost our power to truly connect with people and maybe even persuade them in all our conversations?
Enjoyed the video? Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe for more English learning videos. See you in the next lesson.